A sharp, metallic smell hit first, the kind that comes when something is preparing to hunt. I knew I should have stopped walking. I didn't. I will tell you one thing, RYXX wrote in the opening line of his incident report 3 days later. His scale pattern's still patchy enough to embarrass him. Stay away from humans. What happened in the Obsidian Corridor that shift stay with this? Because what I witnessed that night rewrote the working definition of the word threat at Velthar Base permanently, and you deserve to hear it from someone who was technically present. 3 days earlier, RYXX's biggest problem was that he had taken the wrong shortcut from the lecture hall to the canteen. The Obsidian Corridor, Velthar Base's low-light maintenance artery, the kind of place nobody walked through unless they were deliberately lost or deliberately avoiding questions, was supposed to be a misread map. That was all. He was going to dinner. Seriously, just dinner. For Vani, scale patterns carry one genuine advantage. Thermal imaging engages automatically in low light. Useful. Under normal circumstances. These were not those. Kralith, according to RYXX's species briefing notes, stood 3 meters tall, carried bone-plated shoulders, deployed retractable claws, and hunted in coordinated packs. Their most documented weakness. If pack coordination broke down, their fear freeze response triggered automatically. One Kralith alone, cut off from its group, would lock up completely. Literally stone still. Pack hunters by design. Useless by themselves. RYXX remembered that particular briefing note at the exact moment his scales started going pale for the first time. The Fang Quartet. 4 of them. Dark corridor. And 1 human cadet holding a notepad. Leila did not look like incoming danger. Average height for a human, which to a Kralith registered as roughly juvenile-sized. Notepad in hand. Taking architectural notes on the load-bearing structure of the corridor walls. Interesting, she said to no one in particular, writing something down. Suboptimal for ambush, actually. Then all 4 closed the circle around her. RYXX described his position afterward as tactical observation. It was a supply closet. He had, somewhere in his species briefing training, read a documented human neurological state researchers had formally labeled fight mode. A condition in which pain perception drops to near zero, reaction time accelerates, and the organism continues functioning while treating physical damage as essentially irrelevant. He had highlighted it. Yellow stylus. Reserved only for things that seemed theoretically alarming. He had not understood, at the time, what near-zero pain perception actually looked like from a supply closet doorway. Also documented, somewhere between the canteen and this particular disaster, human children begin physical play combat at approximately age 2. Not as a figure of speech. Literally. The species runs a 20-year physical conditioning program that their civilization simply calls childhood, and the Fang Quartet had selected one of its graduates for a corridor ambush, which, in retrospect, explained certain things. RYXX's scales had gone pale. Properly pale. The kind of pale his species displayed at funerals or at tax audits. The kind that meant his body had processed the situation faster than his brain had caught up. Leila had not looked up from her notepad. The first Kralith moved. Not a threat display. Not a warning circle. Actual lunge, claws out, the full 3-meter weight of it committed to one direction. Leila sidestepped. Clean. No scramble, no stumble. She just wasn't where she had been. And somehow, in the half-second the Kralith's momentum carried it past her. She had its blade wrist in both hands. She straightened the grip angle slowly, like correcting a student's posture, and placed the weapon back in its owner's hand. Your grip angle is wrong, she said. The Kralith stared at its own blade. RYXX's scales went another shade paler. The second Kralith signaled the others into pack formation, a coordinated surround, the move that made them dangerous, the tactic that eliminated the weakness RYXX had read about in that briefing note. For together, synchronized. That was the whole point of the Fang Quartet. Leila turned to face them, one at a time, slowly. What's your name? She said to the first. Not a question. A notation. She wrote something in her notepad. She looked at the second. Waited. He told her. She wrote that down too. By the time she reached the fourth, the pack formation had quietly collapsed. Nobody had signaled the retreat. Nobody had given an order. The Kralith Fear Freeze response does not require a command to trigger. It only requires isolation, the biological certainty that the pack has already fractured, that each member is now, functionally, alone. And Leila had accomplished that with eye contact and a notepad. RYXX thought, "This is the turning point of my career." Then he thought, "My career already turned. It turned the moment I took the wrong shortcut." For Kralith, stone still, standing in a maintenance corridor in front of a human who had not raised her voice once. Leila looked at all four of them. "You should sit down," she said. "All four of you." A passing Osavek maintenance worker rounded the corner at that precise moment, took in the scene. Four frozen Kralith, one human with a notepad, one Fervani cadet visible through a supply closet door with scales the color of old chalk. Set his toolkit quietly on the floor and walked back the way he had come. No documentation. No report filed. Some things the Osavek apparently felt did not require official processing. The corridor was cold. Or maybe that was just RYXX's scales. Still pale. Still patchy. The Fang Quartet were arrested within the hour. Formal warning. Reassignment to separate postings across 3 different sectors, which solved the pack coordination problem in the most permanent administrative way available. Velthar Base updated its predator species conduct code within the week. Pack behavior within proximity of human cadets now triggered mandatory behavioral review. No exceptions. No warnings first. RYXX filed his incident report. All 4 pages of it. On the last line, he wrote the only conclusion that had felt honest since he walked out of that supply closet. "If you think a human is the smallest threat in the corridor, I want you to remember that I thought the same thing. I was standing close enough to watch every second of what followed. Remember that too." The corridor was cold. His scales stayed pale for 2 more days. Some readings, he had learned, do not reset quickly.